All right, we're going to go over the best leg workout for pitchers. So the things we're trying to accomplish as pitchers is with the lower half is the ability to generate force and pump that force up our body. So some of the things that are required to do that well are going to be pelvic stability. If your pelvis is weak, then we're going to have a hard time having enough stability to push energy through. So we're going to attack some pelvic stability exercises or lifts. Then vertical force, just the ability to push force into the ground, because like Newton said, there's an equal and opposite reaction. That energy will come back up, and then that's the energy we harness and we accelerate to the ball through all the, the speed multipliers of the upper body. So we got to be able to generate vertical force. So we're going to look at exercises and lifts to do that. The other one is lateral. Like pitchers don't just, push vertical forces. Also, the forces are more linear. So, but initially we do that in a lateral position because we can then add rotation to it. So a lateral force is a different force than creating a linear or a vertical force. So we can call that a shear force. That's a tough one to address. And I'm actually not going to show you the exercise, but I'll tell you about the exercise. And I have many other videos where you can actually watch me doing that exercise. So let's go back to the first one, like pelvic stability. So how do we address pelvic stability? So remember, with your pelvis, you have two plates here, your pelvic plates, your iliums, and they are stabilized through your sacrum, and they move around, especially when you pitch. They torque around when you pitch. So to have the strength in all the muscles here is going to allow us to create more stability there. And an easy way to do that is in your squatting, back squatting, front squatting, working on depth. So how do you get to good depth? You want to be shoulder width, okay? You want to squeeze your glute to stabilize the pelvis and start with that pelvic stability right out of the gate. Squeeze your stomach, stabilize your spine. And then what you're going to do is you're going to try to spread the floor. You don't want to go inward because that's not a stable position. You actually want to turn outward as you go all the way down, and you load your ankles and you go what we call ass to grass, all right? And you sit trying to keep those ankles down as best you can, and you hold that load. And you hold that load for a good amount of time, and then you fire back up. So there's putting the pelvis with the weight on the back squat, obviously work up to where you can eventually do good weight. And that low position puts a lot of stress on those pelvic plates or on those iliums to stabilize that position, because what's happening is your femurs are turning out. Everything just wants to give out, right? So you're having to hold that together in that fully loaded pelvis position. That's a good way to hit pelvic stability. So your first one would be deep squatting. Then we could do some power lunges, basically what I call power lunges, where you lunge far out, right? And then this leg's gonna be in full extension, and this leg's gonna be in full flexion, and then I drive it back up. So this ilium's getting tipped forward, this plate is being tipped back. So I'm having to create a lot of stability in that position, which is an open pelvis position, like when we pitch, to hold and stabilize that. And I'm gonna go both ways, right? All the way deep into it, long stride. That's another great one. So I call those power lunges. And then the vertical force. The vertical force would be something as simple as a clean pull, because it has to not just be strength, it has to be power. It has to be accelerated, right? And typically, the Olympic lifts are the best way to accelerate weight. So what's one we're going to start with? And you could do this with just the bar, and you could also do it with weight. You're going to go now hip width, feet hip width. You're going to squeeze your glute to stabilize your pelvis, squeeze your core, and you're going to turn those femurs out as you go down. You're going to squat. But I'm going to hold my butt at knee height. I'm going to keep my knees out into my elbows, and I'm going to keep my trunk upright, supporting the bar with my arms. And I only want my chin over the bar. I don't want to be leaning too far over the bar. From here, this is a dynamic movement, not a slow movement. I'm going to start the lift, and once I get to my knees, I'm going to hold that knee position and push under the bar, like I'm scooping under the bar, knees still bent. And then I'm going to jump the bar up, where I make it really dynamic and explosive. So I'm going to go back down to the squat position where the knees or the butt is knee height. Knees are out, trunk is upright. I'm gonna start off slow and build up fast as I go. I'm gonna shoot under once I get to my knees and jump the bar up. And those are called clean pulls. So that way we're tapping into that vertical power. The vertical power that we hit at front foot as pitchers, and as we push back to finish the ball. Studies show a high correlation to that vertical power and pitch velocity. And then a last one, and these are just a few. We have so much more with the TopVelocity programs that you can get into. But the last one would be that lateral power, that shear force of pushing back into the rubber as you open and land it into front foot. So it's really tough to do that in the weight room. I mean, you could do a single leg squat and kind of push back up, but still a lot of vertical force there, not really that sheer force. So the best way to do that is like a sled. So basically with a sled, you get a rope, you know, and you could tie the rope to a belt like that, and you're gonna do lateral sprints, where you step behind, you drive and sprint, and you try to keep the foot sideways. You want your foot to stay sideways when you drive. If your foot keeps turning and opening, then you have some hip mobility issues that need to be addressed. So don't let that happen. Keep it sideways, get low as you drive, and step behind and drive. And that sled, you're pulling that sled, probably the best way to tap into the lateral power. So those are some great leg workouts, addressing pelvic stability, which has a high correlation to your ability to use the kinetic chain, and that's through evidence. Vertical forces, and that's used in your back leg and a lot in your front leg. And then those shear forces, those lateral forces, to really start the acceleration of your stride, used very well. Now we're starting to enhance the lower half. And so when you hear a coach say you got to use your lower half, that's a way to start developing it in the weight room. And then you got to learn how to move it correctly through your delivery on the mound. And you'll need drills for this. So we have tons of drills to teach those: med balls, baseballs, TopVelocity.net. Go to TopVelocity.net. Tons of things that you can continue to learn from our articles. Check out our camps. You can even sign up for our Patreon, or you can sign up for us to give you a call and see what we can help you with. TopVelocity.net/schedule is a way to get on our calendar and book a time with us so we can talk to you and help you figure out where you are, and we can evaluate you and figure out how to get you to your goals through all of our training. So I hope that helps. Those are the best leg workouts for pitchers. We got a lot more stuff on our channel, so also follow us on our channel.